to be all I wanna be? When will I be good enough to live my life and be free? When will I dance till the morning lights up my day? Well, 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 well.
Very pleased, very happy to be here in this space with you, this open space. And we've met once over Skype before, Dr. Pat Ogden, and one of my friends, Dr. Alan Shaw, said to me, of all the people that you need to speak with right now, you need to connect with Pat. And your work is groundbreaking. I know you've just been working, literally, probably since 9 o'clock this morning.
8:30.
8:30. And you're alive. You're alive, your eyes are alive completely. And why is there so much shine and sparkle within you, which goes deep within? I can see it going deep down from your eyes inside. Why is that with the work that you do?
I think mostly because I love it. You know, I love it, and like you, I have felt it was a mission and a journey for me, you know, almost for as long as I can remember. Like working with my body, working with other people in their bodies, you know, starting in my 20s, teaching yoga in a psychiatric hospital and seeing how it helped people. And when you find that gratification, you know, of seeing somebody feel better, it's enlivening. It doesn't feel like work. It feels like a gift. Not to them, well, to them, but also to me, you know, to be a part of that journey. Yeah. So I love it.
Yeah. Do you ever get tired?
Of course, I get tired. Yeah, yeah. I do get tired. I mean, Sensorimotor Psychotherapy has gotten much bigger than I ever imagined. You know, so it's a whole organization. We teach all over the world, and I have learned to really not take every single opportunity that's offered, but to train others in my work, you know, to also teach and go out into the world. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
So sensorimotor psychotherapy, the motor part interests me. I understand that it's different elements brought together, neuroscience, somatic, body-based work, cognitive work. The motor, what does that refer to in sensorimotor psychotherapy?
Well, it refers to movement, the motor system, and physical action, you know, because our history shapes our bodies and it kind of predetermines how we make certain actions that are connected with our emotions and our psychology. For example, traumatized people, especially with childhood trauma, they often go into like an immobilizing response, like a freeze, where everything's tight, or just a collapse and dissociation, you know, because fight and flight isn't possible. So if that gets kind of wired in the body, actions are limited. Like for somebody who's frozen, to try to make a gesture to push away, it's not an integrated action like that, you know, which is what's really needed with trauma. So we work with physical action in so many different ways to help people kind of expand their motor vocabulary, you know.
Movement vocabulary, motor.
Yeah, movement, yeah. And like with reaching out, you know. Like you just did this nice motion.
Yeah, feels beautiful.
Yeah, right. And the motion that you're making is kind of an extension outward, but also an inward motion. You know, like a give and a receive, perhaps. But some people don't have that vocabulary. You know, like you might ask someone to reach out, and they reach out like this because they don't expect anything. You know.
So the body holds so many answers. Does it hold all the answers?
Oh, I don't like absolutes. I think answers come in many, many different ways through, dreams and cognition and emotion and images and experience, all kinds of things. So I wouldn't say the body holds all the answers, but the body holds our implicit memory system, So even the traumas and the attachment experiences that we don't remember, we can discover through our bodies. We can see the imprint of that in our bodies.
So personally, from your own journey, have you experienced trauma in your life?
I would say yes, that I have. I think everybody's experienced trauma, because trauma has to do with the felt sense of danger or life threat. And we've all experienced that in many different ways, For me personally, I've experienced a lot of death in my family. My father died when I was very young, and many relatives, my best friend, my first boyfriend, and that was traumatic for me. And I think, like you, we teach what we have to learn. We find ways to heal ourselves, and this has been a healing journey for me as well.
And is that around those deaths? Is that something that is you're still on a healing journey with, or is it something that with your work you've been able to move out from?
Well, I've definitely been able to move forward, but I don't think the healing journey ever ends. I don't think there's an end point. So I'm still healing and growing, and I hope that never stops. Yeah.
That's what's so exciting about life, isn't it?
And you had said something earlier that you don't regret anything that happened to you because it's brought these incredible opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
it has. Yeah. No, I wouldn't change my life as much as it's been challenging and painful. That is the growth, and there's so many people in the world that have experienced all different forms of trauma, so much more than me,
Right.
less than me, but everyone that is sharing on the network right now is saying, I wouldn't change, I wouldn't change, and that's a brilliant thing to hear.
Well, when you grow for it, when you feel how your own experience propels you to certain activities and to meet, particular people, how can you regret it? Like I think my resource as a child was being physical. I was extremely physical. Like my own body was where I found my home, as a kid. Even as a I remember the first dance class. My mother put me in dance when I was 6 or 7 because she knew I was going to be really tall.
Yes.
And she wanted me to be graceful.
Yes.
And I remember in dance class that the teacher was trying to teach us this, this poise in the body, this alignment in the body. And I got it immediately as a child, and it felt so good. And so then that led me to teach yoga and dance in a psychiatric hospital because I loved it, because it was so healing for me. And then to find that what was healing for me, I could use to help other people. What's more gratifying?
Exactly. And what results did you have with yoga and dance and movement in psychiatric care?
Well, we didn't do any research, but I noticed that the people who did, especially the yoga class, got better. And maybe the people who were going to get better came and did the yoga class, who knows, but they got better, and that really piqued my interest in how the body could be a source of healing for traumatized people and wounded people.
So what is your vision for the world, reference your work and reference trauma and releasing trauma in the world? What is your vision?
Well, in some ways, my vision is a little bit similar to yours. I don't believe there's only one way to heal trauma. I've seen people heal trauma through music and art and dance and other modalities and all. So I like the idea of collaboration.
Yeah.
That's where Alan and Shore and I connect, because we'd love to collaborate, and I can show how his theories work in therapy through my videotapes with interactive regulation and right brain to right brain communication. So I love that kind of collaboration. For my work and my school in particular, you're thinking of. I just want it to grow in a good way, in a sustainable way. That was a big topic of our last meeting at my school, with all the trainers came from all over the world, and the big topic was sustainability. Like how can we grow this business and this work to help heal, others in a way that's sustainable for all of us. And that's what we're really looking at, because we want to take it to third world countries. We want to train people in areas that we haven't gone to yet.
Great.
In Japan, we'll be going there, and in Peru, and in Africa, and we want to expand. And we also realize that we have to, take care of the home fires as well.
Sure.
Nourish ourselves.
Sure. Very important.
Yeah. And many of us, like I'm 65, and many of my trainers are nearing 70, and so we want to bring along the younger generation and really mentor some of our younger people who want to do this work so that they can carry it forward.
And do you have many youth trainers coming through? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Great.
Yeah, definitely.
And so how many practitioners are there in the world with sensorimotor psychotherapy?
Practitioners. Well, we have 3 different levels of training. We have our level 1 training for trauma, which is about 80, 90 hours of training. And then our level 2 is attachment work and trauma work, and work with really strong emotions through the body. And that's about 180 hours. And then our level 3 is certification. That's another 140, 50 hours of class time. So in terms of, I don't know the numbers, but we have tons of people who graduated from level 1, like hundreds and hundreds, and about half of those go on to level 2, and then about, I don't know, half or 3/4 go on to the certification.
Level 3.
Yeah. But I don't know the numbers.
No. And how many countries in the world are
probably
practitioners?
Maybe 10, maybe 15.
Yes.
10, 15, yeah.
All
through Europe, Australia, part in New Zealand. We'll be going to Japan, Canada, and throughout the United States.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the passion, the drive, the force that's within you that takes all this forward and keeps taking it forward. What is that for you? What is it within you that brings this around?
It's hard to define, because it feels something choiceless. Like it just happens. Work is something I've never struggled with. It's just unfolded. Since I started working when I was 9 years old, babysitting, and I became the best babysitter in my town because I loved it, and so something about work for me just unfolds naturally. And I think I believe that if you do what you love, it just unfolds. And I think I have a pretty strong desire to help people. I always have. I've always felt that way. I wanted to make things better, and that's a pretty strong desire. And another driving force is the collaboration.
Yeah.
Like when I met Alan Shore, it was just a connection, and we knew we were going to be following the same path. And there is a group of us, like you said, that's kind of on that journey together, and we do conferences together, and we work together a lot. And that it feels good to be part of a community that's seeking trauma resolution.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Community.
Yeah.
So, let me look into your eyes and see, what do I see? I see real determination, real determination, and so much compassion for loving other individuals. So much. and a bright spark of a little bit of devilment. Devilment. Yeah, which is great. Really great. What a combination.
I think a big part of healing is play and fun, and laughter.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I just worked with a woman today, and terrible abuse. It was our first session, and she would be crying, and then we would be laughing, and bringing that laughter in. I think is so healing. I mean, I think it's essential in therapy.
So crucial.
Yeah.
So can you just give me an idea? Sensorimotor psychotherapy is not one that I've actually experienced myself. So done somatic experiencing and EMDR and a lot of body-based work.
Right.
How would a typical session be for the people out there to just understand? I understand that it's cognitive as well.
Right.
So how would a session be, and how long would it be, for instance? So if you were working with me.
Okay. I want to set it up a little bit first, because also to kind of honor my main teacher, who was Ron Kurtz. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Yes.
I met him in the early 70s, and he was the best mentor and my best friend for 38 years, I think. He just passed away recently. And the thing that drew me to his work, the spirit of what he did, was a set of principles that in those days was very foreign to psychotherapy. And those principles had to do with what we called organicity, Gregory Bateman's term about the healing wisdom is within the person, it's not outside the person. You probably weren't even around in the 70s to know this, but this was revolutionary. You were? Okay, I don't know how old you are.
47.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, and that made a huge difference for me. And then if you believe that, then nonviolence goes right along with that. Like, you don't have to push people. You don't have to try to make something happen. The idea of mindfulness was incorporated into these principles, because if you really believe the wisdom is inside a person, what you have to do is help them go inside themselves in the right kind of way in the therapeutic diet, with the relationship, so they can find those answers inside. So my work is really based on those principles. They really speak to me about helping someone find their own wisdom inside themselves, through what we're calling embedded relational mindfulness, where we're going in together. They're taking me in there with them, inside themselves, to their journey. So that sets the stage for the relationship. That's a very particular kind of relationship. It's not forceful. We're in it together. We go on this journey together. That's really crucial for me. So then, how a session looks like is, if you were my client, you would say what was bothering you and what was affecting you. We don't need your history, although you might want to tell it to me. But I wouldn't need it.
No, that's interesting.
Because what we're looking at are the leftovers, how it affected the way you organize your experience. Okay, so I would be kind of tracking your body with you, like if you're talking about your trauma or something, and say, your shoulders come up a little bit, or you pull back a little bit. I might say, I just noticed when you were talking about this. And if you were interested in that, because it has to be collaborative. If you were interested in that, we would explore it and try to reveal that wisdom of your body. So I would ask you maybe just to sense it and feel it, and what can you find out about it, and that's where the mindfulness comes in. And we're looking for the spontaneity of your internal experience. So if you say went into that tension and you said, this image just flashes in my mind, I don't know why, but when I feel that tension, that's what comes up. Well, that's important. That's something coming from your unconscious and your implicit self, that has information for us. And then we integrate the body. We want to find out, well, what's that tension telling us about your patterns and also about new possibilities. Like a woman today, I guess I'm bringing up that pattern because she had a pattern like this from her own abuse, and she was pulling back and tightening up when she thought about this incident, but her fingers went like this. Her fingers just came up like this, and so we look at those. She wasn't conscious of it, but her fingers came up, and as we stayed with that, she felt this strong impulse to push away. Which her trauma was very young. She couldn't do that as a child. But it came from her body, and that instills this kind of confidence. Because she didn't think about it. It was this natural intelligence. But she wanted to,
Yeah, I do. I do. It's something that I do, my boundaries were broken.
Yeah.
So what I found I do sort of down on the beach, like literally, a lot of the days that this whilst I've been here, is to create this space around me, and I allow this. It's like this is my space.
Exactly. Exactly.
No one is to invade this space.
That's right.
And I sort of liken it to what you said, to sort of and the push away. I recognize and.
It's very similar, because you're right, people with trauma, Freud used to say it was a breach in the stimulus barrier, you can't keep it out. I think and that's a great thing to do, I'll tell a lot of my clients to play with that, It's also, though, fascinating when it comes up spontaneously in the body, when somebody's talking about their trauma, when that impulse comes up, because it's like in ethology, in the animal kingdom, and we are, after all, we're animals, animals will make little preparatory movements before they make the larger motor movement. And in trauma therapy, it's very important to track for those preparatory movements, to run away or protect yourself somehow, because you want to catch the moment where they're available spontaneously. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, completely.
And that's what's, I think, so exciting for many clients, is that they discover these forgotten impulses.
Yeah, I love the way that you describe the inner journey with someone. I mean, it must be such such an intimate space to be entering someone else's.
Totally intimate.
Wow.
It's incredibly intimate.
And these people must trust you. I mean, what type of clients do you get coming to you? Is there ages, sex? What do you find?
Oh, well, I'm not a child psychologist. In fact, the woman whose house we're in we're working together to develop our program for kids.
Yeah.
I've worked mostly with adults and teenagers. Men and women, although I would say I've worked more with women than men. Women have come to me more than men. Worked with parents and children.
The changes that happen in the brain through trauma, which is Alan's work, is how do you feel about the healing process around the brain itself and the mind and its healing? And do you believe that everything and anything is possible with the healing of the mind?
That's an interesting question. I mean, in principle, I do believe that anything is possible. Miracles are possible.
Yeah.
All the new work on neuroplasticity, is just phenomenal. Norman Deutsch's work, it really opens things up. And it kind of validates what I've felt for a long time, that about the healing potential. But I'm not a neuroscientist. I have worked with people with DID, really early, horrible trauma. And what to say about that? There's a lot of healing that happens, a lot of growth that happens. many of these people still struggle just with stabilizing their arousal, you know. And, not that I don't believe anything's possible, but when there's that kind of profound early trauma, you know, it leaves its imprint. You know. And I don't know, it's one thing I'm really curious about is why some people seem to totally recover and others stay stuck, you know. And that's happened with my patients as well. Not everybody doesn't heal in my practice. I think anybody who said that I would start to question, because it's tough, hard work. And I don't know what all the factors are there, you know.
No, I understand.
But it's still a discovery. There's still so much to learn about the brain.
Yeah.
We know so little, really.
Yeah, Babette Rothschild's work, I looked at that, and that's fascinating. It's so encouraging to see all the possibilities that are there. And like you say, I think you know, there's so much more to uncover and to be developed, and that's the excitement of the whole process. Isn't it? So why do you believe we're here as human beings on this planet? Why are we? Why is the trauma in the world? Why are people suffering? Why are people healing? What is life about for you, Pat?
That's a big question. I'm thinking of so many different facets of it. You know, I mean, the Buddhists talk about necessary suffering and unnecessary suffering. And I think life on this earth plane, there is necessary suffering. I mean, we have bodies, we get sick, we die, we get hurt. But suffering is very real. I think that's what life is like here on this planet. And I mean, I don't know, I couldn't answer why we're here. But for me personally, it's important to accept life on its terms. You know, because if you try to push all that away and try to make all that go away, it's not the nature of life here. I mean, animals eat each other. You know, it's just. But the unnecessary suffering is something I'd really like to help alleviate. You know, because a lot of our suffering is so unnecessary. And the necessary suffering, when it's experienced in a community and together, it also has a different feeling, because it brings us together in our pain, you know, and that in itself is nurturing and healing. You know.
Coming together in the pain.
So for me, I mean, I think for me personally, life it's about growth, and it's about personal evolution, as well as, you know, community and planetary and all of that. But I don't think that we can quantify that in terms of good and bad. You know, I think we have to receive those experiences and grow with them. Like that story, remember that story about the man who had a son and a horse, and it was this good luck, bad luck. Like something would happen, he'd say, like his son got hurt, and he said, oh, what terrible luck, what terrible luck. And then every boy in the village was taken to fight, but his son was spared because he had been hurt, and oh, what good luck. And it's that kind of, you know, we don't know. The worst things that have happened, you said it too, have turned into the most precious, you know, jewels and gifts.
Jewels.
And,
That's true. That's true. So, what is healing as a word? What does it, you know, what does it represent for you? You know, in the world. As you know, our organisation is the World Healers Electronic Network, WEN, which we've called it for short. What does that mean for you to be healing and to heal?
Well, first of all, I would have to say I don't consider myself a healer. I would consider my client his or her own healer, you know. I would hope that I can sort of help create a context where that healing energy can come forward. So I wouldn't ever call myself a healer. I think healing is about emergence, about emerging into more and more of who we are. But I don't think that ends. I think it's a creative process, process of creativity. You know, like I would hope on my deathbed, I'm still healing. I'm still emerging. You know?
So you're personally healing, but you're not a healer.
I don't consider myself a healing. No, I wouldn't say I'm healing. I would say that I strive to create a context where healing can emerge. I think it's always a dance of all the elements, you know?
Yeah.
It's not me that can heal you or anybody.
Agreed.
You know, we can create maybe a container together where that healing energy can come forward.
Yes.
I think that's the most we can do, but that's a lot.
Yeah, so it's a healing energy that we create the container for, and it
emerges by itself. I think healing and wholeness is an emergent, you know, property. It keeps emerging. I mean, could you say you're healed? Couldn't you say it keeps emerging? It keeps growing.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Expansion.
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah, it keeps expanding.
Expansion.
Yeah.
Yeah. And an emergence of something much greater for me.
Right.
Yeah, much greater, and more of a surrender every day.
Yeah.
Our symbol is when, which it represents for us is victory, but surrender. And for me, to take myself to become second to something much greater, this emergence is of love for me, the giving and receiving, which is almost, there's not a context to put on that, because it's everything.
That's right.
But equally, it's not no thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I know exactly what you're talking about. I feel like with my work, when it's flowing, that I'm not even. It's not something I'm doing. You know, it's just kind of coming through, and it's emerging. I love it. I love that feeling. You know.
Maybe emerging light. Maybe who knows? Who knows what it is? But it's something and nothing.
Yeah, yeah. But maybe for a client, it's that capacity that we're hoping they can discover, where the emergence keeps happening. You know, where it doesn't get stopped like in trauma; it just truncates it. Yeah. So maybe that's what we're really kind of going for. Never thought of it that way, but yeah.
So for people out there, based on your life journey and your life's work and mission, that have trauma right now, that haven't accessed any form of help, and they realize that they have trauma, and what would you share with the people out there as the first point of call, shall we say?
It's hard to find one statement. I think of that, there's a Hopi Indian prayer that goes something like, I give thanks for help unknown already on its way. And I like that prayer because it's requiring kind of a trust that help is out there and it's already on its way. You know, and I think many traumatized people don't feel that hope, you know.
I'd love to thank you for today and the experience and the time that you've taken here with us and to share with the world. And
my pleasure, really.
Bless you. I look forward to many more times.
Yeah, okay.